Welcome back, everybody. Before we head into our next match, let's take a look at SK Gaming's win over Gambit. And, well, as Jess has said, we got our picks, we were confident, we win in there, and we just finished the game. And, guys, it was pretty straightforward. Yeah, during the pre-game build-up, we heard from the SK players in one of the matches, the pre-game video, where they were saying in the previous matches they just made mistakes. And they feel that if they had played safer and smarter, they wouldn't lose to Gambit. And they demonstrated that. They didn't make super risky plays. They didn't go out of their way to force objectives because they were calm, they were controlled, and that style of play just worked for them. Yeah, and just to reiterate that, I mean, this was a textbook victory, you know? No real mistakes, nothing too flashy, but everything by the book, do it as it should be, and win the game. There's really not so much to talk about in terms of what maybe SK did wrong, because they didn't do too much wrong. Yep. Gambit didn't seem to have much of a chance in that game, unfortunately. Yeah, textbook victory, textbook team fights as well. So let's take a look at one of those team fights. We're going to pull it up on the screen, because as you said, SK doing very well, and Gambit, actually, there was a lot of synergy missing there. Yeah, there really was. If you'll notice this early in the game, 19 minutes on the clock is already a 6,000 gold lead. SK had complete dragon control, and this is a great flank attempt from Gambit. Deficio rightly pointed out during the cast that Nyx, Mega, and Verno Bomb came down very late. So let's roll this clip out, and you have a very good flank from Diamond. But Genja, with zero protection, decides to open up with a rat-a-tat-tat. There's no front line with him. There's nobody to prevent him getting kicked back into the team. So SK easily peel, they get a kill on the rat, and Freddy's done a good job at, zoning the rest of the team away. So I think there's a lot of props to be given to SK for how they handled the flank, but it's more about Gambit making the misplay in the engage than SK doing fantastically. Yeah, and we actually also have a big play coming from this game. I know, Joe, you were very excited about this one. It's from @SaberWolf, who says, that flash kick to make up for the dodged ward jump was very flashy. Well played, Svenskeren. Let's take a look.
Yeah, so this clip actually was just like a small highlight, a small moment of awesomeness, I think, coming out of Svenskeren. Let's just play that one here. Edward, obviously, somewhat alone from that one, getting hit with the Q, and we notice there the flash here, and watch his kick. He starts the animation before he flashes so that he gets Edward in the right direction back into the rest of the team. Okay, those are some things that sometimes may change the game. In this one, though, it was just a little bit of flashiness for the end from Svenskeren. Sven's Lee was incredible all game long, and those plays sicken me just because of how fluid and how easy they make it
And
look.
because I can't do them.
Yeah, that too.
We're so jealous of that. Well, that was only one of your tweets, but of course today, earlier we asked you guys which European LCS team has the strongest picks and bans and why, and here's what you had to say. First up is from Adixate Fodderall. As cliche as it is, Alliance has the best picks and bans. Nothing is harder than working against a possible bird pick.
Yeah, it's a pretty good point that he brings up. Anivia has got a loss though, not always the instant to victory. But what I like about Alliance's picks and bans, they're very vocal. They need magic damage, they need physical damage, and they need it all to be added together.
The next one is from @KeyBladeTerra25. Millennium does a good job of banning out their weaknesses and manipulating their enemies into banning the common pick show.
Yeah, but that's the thing about Millennium, that they do have sometimes a very solid ban and pick phase. I'm not sure how that tweet was meant to be worded in terms of banning out their weaknesses, in terms of banning out their own weaknesses, because we see Millennium constantly blue side casting bans, something that not really any other teams do. There are only a couple of them that are doing that, and maybe it's something that Millennium need to work on, but the fact that they've done it weeks and weeks and weeks in a row now tells me that they actually don't mind having to ban that Cassadin out.
Nope, and third place in their league right now, so it's going well for them. The last one is from @FishToads. SK Gaming, they may not be the best mechanically, but their strategizing and teamwork absolutely makes up for it.
I completely disagree with mechanically. I think they're fantastic. But on the topic of the picks and bans, I completely agree. The most impressive thing about SK with their picks and bans is they adjust their playstyle based on the team comp. So if they run a split push team comp, they play split push. If they run a pick comp, they play pick comp. And it's not something that you see from every team in both regions of the LCS.
Yeah, that league clip proved that they are very good mechanically as well. Thank you for those tweets, and we'd love to hear more. Remember to follow us @LOL Esports and use that hashtag LCS to join in the conversation throughout the week. We're ready to head into the third game of the day, so let's send things over back to D-Man and the Fish Show.
Thank you very much, Shox. We are ready for the next match, where the Copenhagen Wolves will take on ROC. Both of these teams currently fighting hard in the bottom half of the table, and the record is currently tied at 1 apiece in the head-to-head, with the last match going to ROC. The Wolves picked up a vital win over Gambit last week, which may have given them a little bit of hope coming into this Super Week. But before that victory, they were on a 7-game losing streak. They were really trying hard to challenge the 0-9 you set back in spring 2013, Deficio.
So a little advice for the people at home. If you're on a 0-9 losing streak, there are a few things you can do to fix it. Step 1, of course, you need to be very positive. You need to keep the mood going. I know Copenhagen Wolves as a team now. Very good synergy together. Have fun. Keep the mood up. And step 2, you need to find a 17-year-old Danish guy called Björksen. You need to get him on your team, give him a pentakill in the LCS, and all of a sudden you will start winning games. Copenhagen Wolves this time around, they don't have Björksen. However, they do have Woolite, who is a very, very good AD carry as well. I was about to say Björksen, of course, is a mid laner, but Woolite is an AD carry here. Let's look at his numbers, compare them to Forgiven from last split. If you look at Woolite himself, he had the third most kills for AD carries with 62. Fourth most in the entire EU LCS. We also look at his deaths, however. Not the best. But compared to Forgiven kill-wise, he's looking good. Forgiven had 80 kills in 28 games. Woolite 62 in only 14 games. So he's looking good. Issue, Woolite has the most deaths for AD carries in Europe. Forgiven had the same issue last split, sorry. Most deaths as well for AD carries. And I think it's because Copenhagen Wolves as a team, they play around this AD carry a lot. So it's easy for the other team to say, okay, we're just going to have a comp which can shut down the AD carry, kill him over and over again. And as long as we do that, we will win the game.
Maybe Björksen could be AD carry. We saw his Ezreal back at All-Stars was
he's
pretty impressive.
Terrible. No, he's a terrible AD carry. I have played with him in bot lane. Terrible.
3.
Sorry.
Not a bad Ezreal.
Nope.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Maybe it's a future for him and Wild Turtle decides to step down. Earlier today, of course, ROC lost to Fnatic and looking at their mid laner Overpow, who used to lead them to victories. Of course, you think of the Mordekaisers, everything they used to pull out and surprise everyone. He just had 0 precedence in that last match. What's actually happened to him in these changes?
So first of all, we have to highlight he played Lulu in both the games here where the CS records were set against him.
Bully.
Used to be a lane bully. Was nerfed, was changed. The Q no longer double Q, so he's no longer a lane bully, just a safe laner. And when you're against Orianna, who's a very strong lane, it opens up for the Orianna to push down the wave every single time, go to Raves, pick up the Raves every time and come back to lane. And therefore you won't be able to shut them down when it comes to CS. And it could explain why Xpeke and Froggen set the CS records against Overpow and Lulu. But still, Rocket as a team and Overpow as a player, they do need to step up things if they want to get towards the very important top spots.
Well, with 1 loss today, they're definitely going to step things up. And of course, Rocket feel pretty confident coming into this match. But the Copenhagen Wolves know how important a victory would mean for them in the standings. And Unlimited, well, he believes that the team has what it takes.
We should definitely beat Rocket. It's really important for us overall for the standings. I mean, they're close to us in the bracket, and I mean, if we want to advance, we need to beat the teams that are close to us, especially.
I think that every team in LCS is much better than Copenhagen right now. I don't know the reason, but just how it is.
If we lose versus Copenhagen Wolves, it will get only worse for us, so we have to win.
Rocket is one of the teams that we can beat without choosing them. They have really strong players. I have a lot of respect, especially for VandeR and Overpow.
I think the point where they lost Forgiven and Amazing was a turning point for them, because now they cannot close up games and they don't have that good area as well.
Only Woolite may be, you know, the best of them, and the rest is just not that good. There's no, like, you know, the weakest link, but there is not the strongest link as well.
So the question is, can Rocket back up their words? Because they were pretty brutal there.
Yeah, they were. And the question is, what is the Copenhagen Wolves cheese? Because Unlimited said we don't need
cheese.
Is it the jungle Yorick which was the cheese here? Or I'm not too sure.
I loved it when he got selected. And of course, everyone's surprised, including Joe Miller. So let's check out the lineups for these two teams. Over on the blue side, it is the Copenhagen Wolves. That means YoungBuck is in the top lane. Maybe he's got some cheese he's going to bring out in that top. Airwaks in the jungle. Could he go with that Yorick once again? cowTard in the mid lane, Woolite is AD carry, and Unlimited on support.
And on the red side, we do have Rocket with Xaxus in the top lane, Jankos as the jungler, Overpow in the mid lane, Celaver as the AD carry, and of course VandeR on support.
So what are we expecting between these two teams? Because if you actually compare the standings, it's actually pretty close. And it's a problem. But before we do get to that, let's see the champions. Let's see who you guys think will win this one. With 69% of you voting on LOL Esports, you've got for Rocket to lead the Copenhagen Wolves. It's an impressive vote. Of course, we'd also like to remind that the seats are available here if you'd like to join us in Cologne and watch these games live. As we head towards the end of the split, things will certainly keep hotting up. Just check out the tickets link, lolesports.com, for all of the details. So, pick and bans. What are we thinking? Have they going to bring the cheese? They said they don't need it.
They don't need it.
They don't
According
need
to
it.
Copenhagen Wolves, so I don't think they... I think we're going to see a standard come from Copenhagen Wolves at least. I wonder if Rocket is still going to ban Morgana. Because the last 5 games banned her away. They used to ban Twitch every single game because Celaver didn't play it, so I feel like they have a few champions. They just want to ban every single game. Don't even want to try and risk playing against them.
Well, we'll see which ones they do go towards. They're going to be ready in a moment. I was just to mention the standings. Of course, Rocket already played 1 game today. They're currently at 5-10, so not a great record. Copenhagen Wolves at 3-11. If they do manage to take a victory off Rocket, they are both
this is very important.
Absolutely anchored down the bottom of the table. Right now, though, Lulu has been banned away, as has Rise. Cassidin, of course, got more bans than on gamers right now. Jax also being banned away.
So 2 standard, very strong bans here from Rocket. No Morgana yet, however, but once again, the Rise being banned by Copenhagen Wolves. Well, not by Copenhagen Wolves, but being banned on blue side. Seems like there's some teams who've been practicing Rise, maybe as a last pick here on purple side, and therefore you banned away. And now Kale being taken away.
Banned away by the Copenhagen Wolves. I would have thought that's one they wanted to maybe let sneak through. cowTard, of course, big champion for him. So that means, let's see what's available. There's all the AD carries are out there.
All the AD carries.
Everybody available. What the Rocket think?
Orianna has been a big pick. I mean, SK Gaming first picked Orianna in the last game here, and we've seen Orianna against Overpow twice now. Over 300 CS by 24 minutes or 22 minutes. So potentially a pick cowTard could take. I'm not sure if he's going to first pick it, as I don't recall seeing cowTard actually play Orianna. So I don't think it's going to be a first pick for Copenhagen Wolves. Might go towards something else, however.
Another Twitch ban as well from Rocket. That's something they've done a lot throughout this season. Zigzo first picked for cowTard. He seems happy with that one.
Yeah, so it wasn't the Orianna, but was a mid lane pick we would expect with Ziggs here for cowTard, which of course always been a very strong pick for him. He seems to really enjoy playing Ziggs and then Yasuo, which are the 2 champions he does really well on. So Copenhagen Wolves really value getting him on a comfort pick early, and also take it away from Overpow, who's played Ziggs quite a lot and really shown he likes to play this aggressive laner.
Well, we're waiting to see what Rocket are going to react with. Of course, they did play Lulu in that mid lane. Morgana was taken away and banned out. Just had a fantastic game for Enrated in the last matchup for SK. And it seems that he's going to make another appearance this time for VandeR, despite Thresh being available. They have gone with that one, and Lee Sin, of course, for Jankos.
But still, the binding, the pick potential when you have Morgana is so strong. I mean, you can pair with pretty much everything. Land the binding, you get so much poke down or the engage, and you just get this kill here, take an objective. So she's just so strong around these objectives here. Her laning phase, not necessarily the best, but it's not terrible either. I mean, again, you can set up ganks and you have the Black Shield to be safe with your AD carry. So overall, very good pick here. And Rocket really showed, with banning it away so many times and now early picking it, they really value her as probably the #1 support.
Yeah, they went with Zyra, of course, alongside Caitlyn in the last matchup. It looks like Caitlyn probably will get selected again for Rocket here because Lucian was just taken away. That means Woolite will be on that one. And Renekton back in that top lane for YoungBuck.
And YoungBuck played Renekton twice last week. Actually,
he plays a very aggressive Renekton, like aggressive build-wise.
He builds Blade of the Ruined King on it. And even in solo queue when I've been watching him, he even goes some Ghost Blade sometime and just go full split push, want to just try and kill people one-on-one. We saw Renekton a lot over in NA, where pretty much everyone except for Dyrus built full tank. Dyrus put in a Tiamat, and then he went full tank afterwards. So we see the style in NA, very tanky Renektons. In Europe so far, we've seen Blade of the Ruined King a few times, put some focus on the lane and trying to split push a little bit before joining for teamfights later on. We need to see which style YoungBuck wants to play here, but it's already shown both solo laners for Copenhagen Wolves very early on.
Well, interesting change for Celaver, finally going towards that Corki, moving away from the champion, of course. He's played it a number of times before, week 5 back in London. But as I mentioned, he's basically, this is the North American matchup, a Lucian versus Corki. It's what we've seen so many times over there. Like you say, it hasn't played too often. Went with Caitlyn in the last matchup against Fnatic, despite the fact Lucian was already selected. So obviously something has happened in between that. Obviously they had a loss to start with, but they didn't do that badly in lane.
No, but the thing, Corki brings more mid-game power as a champion itself. His laning phase is good. You can build Trinity Force early on. It's something Piglet did it over in Korea when SKT T1K played against Samsung Ozone just a few days ago. He went Corki, Build Trendy Force as the first item, strong laning phase, good mid game, and even your late game, if you build Infinity Edge, is actually pretty good. It's not like you're not a hyper carry or the best, but you actually have a pretty good late game. So overall, it is a strong pick, and therefore for Celaver here, you might see him trying to challenge Woolite, trying to shut him down, trying to get a few kills on him. Possibly even in the laning phase with this Morgana if they do land a binding, and then Jankos joins in for some very easy ganks. Requires a binding though.
Yeah, we didn't mention, of course, Aurelia was selected for that top lane for Xaxus. So Woolite has locked in the champions. It is going to be unlimited on Zyra, and of course it's going to be Evelyn for Airwaks.
So Zyra is a very strong pick against Morgana in the laning phase because you can break her black shield so easily with your Q, with your plan, and then you can land a root afterwards, and because you can poke so much from range. As long as you dodge the bindings, you're perfectly safe and you can just poke away. So we might see Rocket also with this Aurelia pick look for the lane swap here. Make sure they don't get Aurelia against Renekton early on and don't want to get this Morgana into the Zyra as well. We're going to see how they want to play the lane swaps, and if they do get lanes, or standard lanes, we might see Jankos be very aggressive with the ganks, trying to help his lanes out.
Well, the mid lane is the selection we're waiting for. What is Overpow going to pull out? Of course, Lulu banned out. It's what he played against Fnatic in the first game of the day. Hello, Xerath.
Hello.
Being hovered over. Will it get locked in? We'll wait and see. Yes, it will. So Xerath coming out in the mid lane up against a Ziggs.
So two very long-range pokers against each other here, but also with a lot of AoE damage for both of them. Remember, of course, the Seraph ultimate. Such a long range, you can fire 3 shots of it as well, trying to just kill people from very, very far away. And we can actually see both mid laners focus on farming and then just step a little bit towards the side lane and fire down the ultis to try and help out the lanes. Of course, Seraph should have a slightly less range than the Ziggs ult, but can move down, try and help out both lanes here if they want to, try and assist in the kills. But Rocket here with some very good poke, both with Corki and Seraph now, and you have, of course, the binding from VandeR to land, and you just destroy the one target you have managed to hit with the binding, and you have disengaged on both. Of course, the stun coming in from Seraph with the ball, with your black shield, you have even Lee Sin to disengage if needed. So we might see Rocket here trying to group fairly early and just try and siege down and poke down Copenhagen Wolves.
Well, we'll see how this one works out. Which team landed the better lineup? Who do you guys think at home? Tweet us #CWWin or #ROCWin to @LOL Esports, and we'll see who you think came out ahead in the champ select.
It's actually very much the same style. Copenhagen Wolves have the same thing. You have Ziggs and Lucian to poke away, and you have Zyra to disengage. So both teams looking really to poke towards each other. Who's actually going to start the fights? I'm not too sure, because they're engaged for both teams is not ideal.
That's a worrying sign.
I mean, you have Evelyn, of course, who can flank around, and Renekton can come in trying to land a stun here, but Zyra is not a support who engages. She's disengaged, pretty much. Unless you land the root. You flash root, of course you can start a fight. On the side here of Rocket, I mean, Morgana, again, disengage. Unless you land a binding, you might start a fight, and then Aurelia or Jankos have to go in from the side as well. So both teams, without any hard engage, and a lot of poke.
I should point out also that both of these teams have the longest average game length in the European LCS. And when you say there's not much engage, it sets me a little worried. We also saw an absolute epic, crazy clash between the Copenhagen Wolves and Alliance on the last day of London's road trip. So we'll see how this one works out. So, Copenhagen Wolves starting out as the blue team, up against Rocket as the red team. And we instantly...
Yes. Setting the tone for the game here. We take our time, no rush. I mean, again, there is options for both teams to start the fights. Evelyn, Lee Sin, both supports can land the skill shot.
I'm going to throw it out there. You know, as team-wise go, Copenhagen Wolves always have the best tops. They had that one that was bad, but generally they have very good tops in that top lane. Alliance could learn something from them. No, we're not going to. No, not got a favorite top. I mean, you had a couple. You had NIP, you had a Wolves top yourself. No, you're not really offering much with this one.
Nah, well, I don't actually like the new shirts.
You don't like them?
I like the old ones, the Adidas one. They were awesome.
Well, the Rocket ones are pretty good as well. I'm gonna
okay, they're cool shirts.
Yeah.
But not as cool as the old Copenhagen Wolves shirts. Oh, they're definitely cooler than Alliance.
The original Adidas ones, yeah.
Definitely cooler than Alliance, however.
They're definitely cooler than Alliance. I think everybody's as cool than Alliance. I'm trying to think of it now. Rocket's got some pretty cool shirts. At the moment, there is a pause. You can see us Unlimited talking to the admin there. And now you can see me. I'm talking to you.
Did you call it tops?
Tops, yeah.
I didn't even know it was shirts. I was trying to figure out what you were talking about.
Denmark, ladies
tops.
and gentlemen. Tops. Yeah, tops, shirts.
There's been some viewers who didn't know tops was a shirt.
Really? Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
All right. Maybe a bit of an English slang coming in there. Who knows? The top shirts. I mean, what did you think I was talking about?
First of all, you're talking about YoungBuck, and then you start talking about Wicked. I was like, I'm not going to sit here and compare the two top laners with each other.
Okay, top laners. Now I get where you were going with there.
Where are you going with this one? Because you kept referring back to Alliance and Wicked and everything. I was like,
you could have talked about Wicked.
I could.
You could. Who
but
knows?
then it would have been even more awkward because you were talking about the shirts and I start talking about Wicked.
We're talking about shirts, ladies and gentlemen. Who do you think has the best shirt? Tweet us at LOL Esports and we'll check that out as well. Don't forget to vote, of course, hashtag CWWin and hashtag ROCWin to see who you think's come out on top of this one. We will find out in just a few moments. Right now, the game is back underway and the Copenhagen Wolves, as the blue team, looking to see if they can go for an invade. Both these teams actually built identical all across the board in items. The only little difference is a biscuit and a health pot.
Both top laners, Thorn Shield. We keep talking about how Thorn's Blade now gives lifesteal instead of on-hit health, which of course is better early game, but lifesteal is going to be better late game here. So both top laners get into Thorn Shield so they have some sustain. And we might see Rocket go for this lane swap here. Unless they feel confident enough, they can actually take just standard matchup and then rely on trying to outplay Copenhagen Wolves and Jankos having more impact than Airwaks. We have to say though, Airwaks on Evelyn, it is a champion he normally picks up a lot of kills on. And he's actually the jungler in the EU LCS with the most kills at the moment. Also the one with the most deaths, but who cares? All about kills.
Who cares about those deaths? We don't want to worry about those. So it looks like it's actually going to be even lanes. Nobody's going to be making any of those lane swaps we thought about, although despite the potential buddy system for both Rocket and Copenhagen Wolves, so maybe they're expecting some switches, who knows. They did get the wards over at that Tribush area in the top lane. Rocket, are they going to go for that cheeky early aggression? I think they're going to move in for this one. I think they want to try and catch out Walla early.
Just if they land a bind and then the Q by Celaver.
No,
gave it away a little bit. Should have done a little bit earlier.
Looking straight out there, straight in towards the face of it. So we'll see how this one works out between the two once the game sounds gets back underway. Celaver and VandeR keep on poking towards Unlimited and Woolite. Who will get level 2 first? It looks like it may well be Rocket.
Both teams very aggressively here, just trying to push the lane. You see both supports trying to go towards the caster minions in favor of Rocket. However, Copenhagen will even it out here and just wait for the next wave to meet.
Ooh, bit of damage on Overpow in the mid lane. cowTard already landing some of those bouncing bombs, it seems, and Overpow going to have to be defensive and make sure he sidesteps. Of course, he's going to be slowed down every time he holds down that Q. But in the moment, the bottom lane, aggression on towards Celaver, trying to take him low. Woolite putting the pressure down.
Taking a lot of damage here from the poke from both Woolite and Zyra early on, so it is a bit risky for Rocket. Have to use the health pot already still. Heal for Celaver in case it's needed, but he's taking a lot of damage now. Actually, only level 1 to the level 2, so early level 2 for Copenhagen Wolves. Managed to get a lot of poke in.
There we go.
There's the game sound.
Yay! Woo! Amazing. You can hear those effects. Celaver taking damage, but it seems that it will keep them at bay. Top laners, let's have a look and peek towards them because Xaxus and YoungBuck, this is an Aurelia versus Renekton setup. It's something we've seen probably a few times back in the spring. We haven't seen too often. Unlimited caught out. He's going to take some damage. Quick burst out from Celaver, but they haven't got that instant burst potential right now in this bottom lane.
No, but these bindings, especially for such a long range, which VandeR actually managed to land a binding here, Unlimited, he needs to dodge them. Every single one, because if he dodges around the bindings with Zyra, he will just control the lane. And normally it is actually the supports deciding the lane, especially early on here, because they're the ones providing the CC, and often also a lot of the poke here. So as long as he dodges around the bindings, he will be able to constantly poke on Celaver and force him away from the CS. And every time he tries to go forward and hit one in the middle of the lane, Woolite can then join in and poke onto him as well, and therefore put everything in favor of Copenhagen Wolves.
Rocket push out. Jungler's not getting involved in this one. Teleport used by YoungBuck in the top lane. Xaxus is still sitting around farming out those CS and keeping himself as even as possible on YoungBuck. YoungBuck, of course, used to be known or famed before he Renekton and on top lane, but since then there's a lot of players that have absolutely proven, I would say, to be better, honestly, on Renekton. Freddy being one of them.
Freddy's definitely been very strong with Renekton, but still, YoungBuck, he likes to play the bruisers. We've seen him try some AP tops as well, with mixed success. I think we can say his Vladimir's not really shown us anything, but his Renekton has always been solid, at least. And this game here, just trying to bully out Xaxus as much as possible, but both top lanes actually just farming. They're not really going aggressive towards each other, just farming away, and as I said, they go aggressive.
Well, Xaxus puts a little bit of pressure down onto YoungBuck, realizes he hasn't got the mini advantage. Jankos is going to get spotted out. The warp just timed out, but nevertheless, it saw him in time, so it did its job. We see Airwaks making a counter and maybe looking to go towards Overpow in this mid lane. If he uses that Arcano Pulse, if he holds it down while accurate, it can slow him down.
Slows him down a little bit, yeah. Still, we would need to see a satchel coming in from cowTard, knocking him a little bit back, otherwise it's going to be too easy for him to get towards his tower. cowTard has been pushing the lane pretty much all the time and forcing Overpow to then try and push it back as well, so they're not really hitting each other, they're just using a lot of mana farming away. And YoungBuck with a very big wave up here, actually going to freeze it a little bit, just letting all his minions die, while Xaxus now is forced to recall and potentially even to teleport back to lane, and therefore won't be obvious he needs it for the dragon, something else the next few minutes.
Quite enough to go for the Phage. Instead, he will teleport back down now onto the minion, by the way. So that's going to affect his cooldown timer, but he really wants to keep pressure on YoungBuck. He was putting a lot of good pressure on towards him, and considering he was staying even in farm in the CS, despite the fact he hadn't backed away, and actually keeping pressure on him, YoungBuck needs to be a little bit more careful. We saw how aggressive Xaxus was being early on. Now he's going to go back in towards it. No dominance available for YoungBuck in this one. Xaxus puts a lot of pressure down on towards him. Minion-wise, it's actually even between the two lanes in terms of how much they can push back on towards him, and that's why Airwaks is coming up to help out.
We actually missed it early on, but YoungBuck had to go back to base already and used the teleport, already picked up a Dorn's Blade, the first back here, so Xaxus now, he needs to be careful though.
Goes what? Instead, flashes downwards straight on towards his face. Safeguard comes up from Jankos. It was bait, it was very overly aggressive bait, I think it's safe to say, but Xaxus is free.
Manly bait.
A manly bait.
Knew Jankos was gonna be there, knew he could survive it. Took us by surprise, managed still to get away from the gank. Flash is gone though. And Koprianiuk actually didn't use any summons up in his top lane. But this bottom lane, they're still taking so much poke.
Celaver also tanking out the minions as well, which is adding the extra damage towards it. The tower trying to put the damage back down there. He should be able to keep up all the farm. But again, a lot of aggression from Woolite. We saw earlier on, he's got 62 kills so far in the LCS. He's chasing on towards that 80 that Forgiven, of course, set in the spring. Overpow backing off, everybody going to buy. Chalice picked up by cowTard, Chalice picked up by Overpow, both going even on that one, and we are seeing potentially the Trinity Force coming out for Celaver early on, while Woolite is going towards the Blade of the Rune King build.
So both of them actually, I mean, going Trinity Force first on Corki is very smart, especially in the lane, because it makes you strong in the lane phase. You can't really afford building anything else. If Woolite had went back and bought a BF sword, he would have been stronger now, but with the Cutlass and now towards the Sheen from Celaver, they should still be fairly even and just looking to farm, but still, it's about the supports. The poke from Unlimited will really out-trade the ones from VandeR unless you eat every single binding in your face.
Absolutely. Something that was really alluded to mention is obviously the BF sword did get a buff. Of course, it is now 50 AD instead of 45, which it used to be before, despite being the same price. So it kind of is a good item still early on, and as we've seen, it's even the very best AD carries in the world still can't decide which is the best build to go.
No, and often, again, it depends on how much gold you have when you go back to base. It depends on, are you really looking for complete late game team fights? Do you know your team can stall the game out long enough for you to go Infinity Edge as first item and get towards your late game points? There's a lot of things always going into the mindset of people or the thoughts of people when they have to pick these items here. And also because the patch is still fairly new and you're just waiting for someone else to break out something new and you're like, oh, now this is the best thing. Whatever it's gonna be, I don't know. Could be Cutlass first into BF Sword into whatever item, and also that's the best thing. We have to wait and see.
Overpow falling slowly but surely behind on cowTard. Airwaks clearing out the pink ward. Jankos finds him, but they are too slow to react, and the pink ward goes down. Back in the top lane, Xaxus and YoungBuck going at it, and Xaxus having to have him back away. Has felt fairly behind in terms of CS, of course. That aggression that came out from the walls with Airwaks has put some pressure on him, and he's going to have to use his ultimate to clear this wave out, I think, maybe towards that tower.
So it's a big wave for both junglers, or Jankos being nearby, and the fact he was actually pinged here by Koprianiuk also means they know we're not going to try and go for any crazy tower dives. Airwaks already moved away from this top lane, even though it's a big wave coming in. Often we see teams move the jungler up when there's a big wave because they want to force the enemy top laner to move away, lose all the farm, lose the XP, and therefore fall even further behind. But because Jankos was nearby, was never an idea by the Koprianiuk Wolves. And just looking to continue to pressure the lanes. YoungBuck doing well his lane. Bottom lane, of course, doing really well. Now cowTard with the blue buff starting to push in the lane as well.
He's going to come around, find that pink ward. Still no dragons, so this may be the first one of the game. Copenhagen Wolves moving into position.
Overpow's back in base.
Ward from ROCCAT actually showing the entire vision, which actually may be enough. No teleport available for Xaxus in that top lane, whereas YoungBuck does. Of course, could get interrupted. They're actually not going to go for it yet.
Oh, so the Wolves back away from it. They are actually forced Overpow back to base, and because Xaxus teleported to a minion, his teleport wouldn't be ready either in case they had started it, and YoungBuck was in a good position to push out the wave and teleport down for Dragon. So I actually felt like Copenhagen Wolves should have gone straight for Dragon as soon as they saw Overpow recall and just communicate to YoungBuck, push out the wave, be ready to teleport in case we need you, and they would have been able to pick up an early Dragon here, but they played very safe, back away, and now lose the chance of some fairly easy goal in my opinion.
Jankos looking to try and create some aggression on cowTard in this mid lane. Can the shocking orb land from Overpow? Can he land that stun? It's going to be important in this gank. He's going to move in towards it. The minions have been cleared out. Does manage to get the Eye of Destruction down. Not quite enough. Quick Arcano Pulse will force him away and take him low and push him out of lane for now.
Yeah, they're pushing down the wave here. cowTard using his ulti actually in this mid lane to just clear it out. And we do see Airwaks now going towards the top lane. It's the thing we talked about just before, moving up, force the enemy top laner away from his tower, and therefore trying to deny him as much CS and farm as possible. But he has teleport, and now the Dragon just goes to ROCCAT because there's two members top, and Copenhagen Wolves didn't take it before when they had the chance.
Yeah, quick reactions from ROCCAT. At the certain moment, Airwaks shows himself up there. Teleport is back available for Xaxus, so he can even go towards the top if needed. He's just going to walk his way in there because no pressure's going down from ROCCAT, so from the Wolves onto that tower. Now he will teleport back in there. Not sure why he didn't walk past that last little bit. Was he
no
fearful of
anyway.
YoungBuck between the lanes?
Yeah, he's probably afraid of YoungBuck zoning him away, so he had to use the teleport anyway to just get to the tower and pick up farm because YoungBuck was between the two towers farming. Would have stopped him from moving unless Jankos had moved all the way from this bottom side up to help him actually. So he had to use teleport. Of course, 240 seconds cooldown. Overpow though in this lane. Falling slightly behind in CS, but landing a lot of poke onto cowTard.
But as we've seen again, falling behind in CS, as you mentioned, this is something he did against Peke. Peke afforded himself the record in that match, and as it stands, Overpow. But we have seen before, in the past, with Xeraths, they can be lean, mean killing machines. Actually, cowTard in trouble. He's going to try to charge away the ult. Will he be able to catch it? Doesn't matter, because Jankos comes in and finishes the job.
It's a very nice setup here, landing the stun first, and Jankos just joining in, getting the kill. Didn't even have to land any of the ulti charges from Overpow. He knew, therefore he missed on purpose. Now YoungBuck going on to Xaxus up in his top lane.
I'm not sure he missed on purpose. Xaxus taking some damage. Mid lane, tower taking some abuse. Airwaks trying to clear out those minions with those hate spikes, smiting them down. Stun not quite landed from Overpow, actually putting some aggression back down on him.
Damage.
ROCCAT actually coming out in favour of the vote, despite the Wolves, of course, having the advantage early on. Binding does land, this time on Unlimited. They are keeping them at bay, but Unlimited and Co and Woolite still keeping that pressure on that bottom lane.
It's going to be a scary thing for Copenhagen Wolves. Once ROCCAT starts grouping up here, you have the binding you need to dodge, but you also have the stun from Seraph now. The ball is thrown towards you. If you get hit by just one of them, the next one is going to follow because it's so easy to land it, and you just CC'd for such a long time. You often see Morgana with Elise doing the same thing. Now, of course, it is with Seraph in this mid lane instead. And if they can chain the CC together, they do have a lot of poke and a lot of damage to kill someone and then take a tower or whatever objective afterwards.
On the pick and ban, we talked about YoungBuck, of course, going with those aggressive builds, and again, it's going to be the Blade of the Ruined King first item completed for him. Meanwhile, he's going to be up against the Triforce Xaxus, and that's going to take him a little while to complete that one, so he should get the Blade before Xaxus.
Yeah, so the whole idea about Blade of the Ruined King on Renekton is because your W, it applies on-hit effects and you hit multiple times with it. So when you have Blade of the Ruined King with 8% of current health per hit, and you use the W, you have a lot of burst you put down with the Blade, and it's passive. Ooh, that was very, very close. Unlimited would have died.
He landed it, but he didn't go for it.
Oh, no, he didn't. Did he?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was Celaver's Q that was showing him. That's
yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
I'm very confused.
Yeah. You are correct, of course. So, Woolite making sure he doesn't get caught down, as he would have been a dead man. But, of course, Jankos shows himself in lane, which does mean it buys time for actually a blue buff steal potential coming out here. Wolves going for this one on ROCCAT's blue buff. We do see Jankos actually caught out of position. The culling coming out from Woolite, not enough damage to take him down. But VandeR putting the shackles down.
Oh,
Mega Inferno Bomb dodged out of. The blue buff did get stolen away. I didn't see actually who had it. I think it may well have been Airwaks using the smart.
cowTard got it, I think. cowTard at least has a blue buff. No, actually, Airwaks managed to smite away. You are correct here. Overpow needs to be careful here. He didn't spot him yet.
Yeah, Airwaks comes around, catches the hate spikes on towards him. The bouncing bomb comes in, not quite landing. Mega Inferno bomb not available. Airwaks stunning out. Overpow getting blown satchel-wise. Oh, flashes out of the bouncing bomb and gets away to safety.
And Overpow was actually waiting with his stun, just waiting for Airwaks to get in tower range. And as soon as he landed the stun, a lot of damage onto him and forced him to move away here. Still, Overpow had to flash from the very last bomb.
Ooh, he's got to be careful. Hasn't backed away just
here.
yet. Yeah, now he's going to back away. Tower is playing with the water bombs. VandeR is going to defend this one. Just about bounced by the satchels. Xaxus and YoungBuck back in the top lane. Look at this, they're poking each other once again with their pointy sticks. But this time, it may well be Xaxus that's going to come out on top. No, Dominus popped out. YoungBuck not having any of that one, going to force him away.
Smart little bait by Xaxus, however. First of all, he's like, I'm going to go all in on you. I'm going to force your ulti. And as soon as YoungBuck pops the ult, Xaxus knows there's a minion right behind me, jumps to it with Q and just gets away. So YoungBuck effectively didn't actually do anything with his ult other than just regain some of his HP here. This bot tower, however, is still taking a lot of damage. Same goes for Celaver.
Slowly but surely, Woolite and Unlimited are going to take this tower down. They have the CS advantage. And in fact, if you look across the board, Copenhagen Wolves have the CS advantage all across every single lane, which is a danger for ROC. It's something that's plagued them throughout the summer split, falling behind in those lane phases. And you could even argue in the spring split as well. And this tower will go down eventually.
This is why we talked about Rocket potentially lane swapping, because they had the weaker lanes, just 2v2 and 1-on-1. Decided still they felt confident enough going to standard lanes, or maybe they were hoping Copenhagen Wolves were trying to guess they went top lane or whatever, but still, it meant they got the standard lanes, and it meant they fell behind in CS all around the board.
For all the smack talk they gave, the Wolves are certainly giving ROC a run for the money. cowTard's in trouble, he's not getting away from this one. Jankos catches him down, Overpow with the assist.
So 34 seconds on the Dragon here. cowTard is gonna spawn and he needs to run straight towards the Dragon if Rocket is in a position to start it. Xaxus, however, used teleport up in his top lane, so he won't be able to join unless he starts running now.
Airwaks comes around the side there, does manage to catch the slow one towards him. VandeR's going to be the focus target. They're currently doing the damage. He flashes away, and he's away from this one as well. Celaver now getting taken low. He's going to drop. Oh, will he? No, he escapes as well. And ROC with the great escape. Meanwhile, they're pushing the mid lane, and there's nobody to defend it.
Still only 1 minion left here. Will they just tank it up? They should do it and get the tower here. Dragon is up now, but the bot lane has been forced back for Rocket. However, mid lane just took 2 towers. Now they're going to lose one in bot lane.
Will they be able to take it down? That's the question. They're going to keep pushing across. YoungBuck takes the top lane turret down. Xaxus is going back in towards that top. Woolite should get this turret down. Overpower coming across. There's the ult. It lands on towards Airwaks. Only catching the one though. He's got no vision. It is blind shooting just down in that lane. Does manage to catch 2 shots in it. Coming around the side is going to be Jankos. Jankos will catch on towards it. Airwaks is going to be the focus, but he's stealth up. He's got no vision of him. He is the blind monk though, if he can get close enough. Instead, he dives around. Airwaks tries to get around from the side. Overpow catches on towards him. Strangle balls bouncing Celaver in the air. VandeR not catching on with the dark binding. And the Rocket only going to get 1 kill out of this.
YoungBuck is pushing the mid lane here. Xaxus was up in his top lane pushing it down as well. No teleport for both of them, so mid tower for Copenhagen Wolves. YoungBuck also took the top tower while we had the whole chase going on here, so a lot of towers going down for both teams.
All 3 outer turrets now down. Remember, the Dragon is up, which is why Xaxus is making his way down, but he's got YoungBuck in between them with that ping ward, giving him full vision. Meanwhile, back down in the river area, they're catching each other out. Xaxus is going to get aggressed upon. YoungBuck putting a lot of damage down on towards him. Xaxus is in danger here. He's got flash available if he needs it, but that means he's not available for this Dragon.
And we just saw the burst here you can do for next time when you have to play the Run King straight onto full HP. Irelia, you do 8% again on every single hit from your W, and you just bursted him down to around 50% pretty much instantly, forcing him to run away. So a lot of damage here from YoungBuck, and now going towards this Dragon.
Didn't even use the active on that one either.
Don't have to. It's all about the passive.
Yeah, just simply got the damage down on towards him, didn't slow him down. So, Copenhagen Wolves moving for the Dragon. Rocket are going to try and defend this one. Teleport still not available for Xaxus, so he's making tracks to get back down here. Rocket simply trying to delay it, and the Wolves are not quite sure about their power right now.
No, again, a bit weird for Copenhagen Wolves. So they move to the Dragon. They actually move away from the mid lane. And yet they don't start it instantly while Xaxus wasn't there. So I'm not sure if they're looking just to land some.
Oh, Airwaks found out here. He's going to try and catch on towards them. But VandeR straight in towards it. Quick turnaround from the damage. Overpow catching a good eye destruction on the Copenhagen Wolves. Jankos stealing away the red buff while this is all happening. Great delay tactics from Rocket.
Copenhagen Wolves took some damage for this engage here. Now still poking away. Ulti wasn't used by Airwaks, remember, he can still try and flank around, but it's very hard for him because he's in this river area here around the dragon. He needs to either run all the way around the blue buff or straight into the face of Copenhagen or Rocket.
Jankos actually going into the face of them, caught out the side there, has to use the kick, but it's a great effect, and Xaxus bounces on it. Quick ultimate coming out, Overpow trying to catch the damage down, cowTard out, Jankos goes in, hits and runs, Overpow gets the kill on towards him, the rest of Rocket chasing on towards this one, Woolite's going to be the focus target, Jankos catches on towards him, Dark Binding was already used, Soul Shackle's not going to do enough, does get the damage down, but doesn't have the stun effect, Overpow going to try and clean up. Dragon, of course, still available, and it looks like Rocket are going to turn and take it.
And it was Jankos here moving the entire way, first into the red buff of Copenhagen, then he moved behind him here to start the whole fight. We saw Overpow, he wasn't even close, but he just used his ulti, tried to hit as many members as possible here, and because Copenhagen took so much poke, and because it was Rocket who got the engage onto them, Copenhagen had to just run away. We're gonna see it again here. Jankos moves in, YoungBuck actually goes towards him. It was a beautiful kick, it's multiple members, there's a lot of damage onto them. cowTard fourth way. Overpow, he's standing in the dragon pit right now. He's trying to fire his ult. Celaver joins in. It's actually a Rocket team out of position. I mean, Copenhagen Wolves are together as a group, but because they have landed so much poke and because they managed to just be so mobile and move around them, they still managed to get a kill here before the rest of the team joins in. Well, couldn't pick up any more kills, but still got the dragon.
So Trinity forces all around, of course, now being picked up. Meanwhile, Blade of the Rune Kings. It's the Triforce versus Blade of the Rune Kings between these two teams right now. Of course, the Wolves currently trail though, 4,000 in gold. That's a big advantage swinging Rocket's way after that fight. They were already in the gold lead, but only 1,000 gold. Now they're starting to swing it. Of course, they've got those 4 kills as well. Despite every single lane effectively winning for the Wolves in terms of farm, they had a good advantage in tactical play, but with that mid turret down, it's a problem for the Wolves, and that takes a lot of vision away from them. If you look across the map, all the vision was placed down that bottom half, around that jungle area, but actually in their own jungle, in and around the defensive quarters that they needed. There's no vision right now, so Wolves are fairly blind.
And they only have this outer top turret here to give at least some vision in this area, because mid lane, Rocket can move down and place a very deep ward and just try and spot Copenhagen Wolves moving around. It is, however, the Wolves sending multiple members to this top lane here. Rocket going aggressive, it might backfire.
This might going to be a 2v2, and you can see YoungBuck coming in, Mega Inferno Bomb lands on the targets, and now Xaxus. Can this be the first kill for the Copenhagen Wolves? Xaxus is going to be that target man. They're still running away from it. The bouncing bomb will go down, and it's cowTard that takes the kill after the tower hit.
So Copenhagen was just sending multiple members up top here. I'm not sure if they predicted Rocket to try and set a gang up, or they were expecting Rocket to group up in this top side to get the last outer turret down, and therefore they were there before them. Still managed to get a kill, pushed the wave out here. Rocket couldn't do anything in return. And it was a kill over to cowTard as well on the Ziggs here. He died a few times, but been farming really well, so still going towards the death cap most likely as his next item, and will be very, very strong. Overpow, of course, with 2 kills and 2 assists, already picked up the death cap.
Yeah, already very strong. Rocket maneuvering, making sure they have some positional play. Somebody's going to have to make a move. It's going to be Woolite, by the looks of it, that's going to go down towards that bottom lane wave, which immediately, because they've pushed it out, Rocket, all members moving in towards the top, they're going to go for that top turret.
Yeah, so they're doing it now here. Teleport is ready for YoungBuck, but he won't be able to hold the tower by himself, and the rest of Copenhagen Wolves are very, very far away. So they moved up there earlier, got a kill, but then they moved away from it, so Rocket was simply just waiting and saying, okay, now we send the members up top, and we should take this tower without any issues. And Overpow staying around as well in case a fight should break out.
Yeah, it's all down to Celaver just clearing out, keep pushing that wave. They're going to have to tank it through. They've only got 1 minion. I think they're happy to do that.
Come on!
As the Wolves show themselves. There goes the turret. And YoungBuck, the only defensive member. Airwaks looking to flank around, actually. There is only 4 members of Rocket here. The rest of Copenhagen Wolves move in for it, but Woolite's not with them, so I don't think they're going to go for it. They may look towards this mid lane of Xaxus, though.
Just farming away here. Airwaks coming in, still on him, and Woolite will be joining him. Nope. Not really going to go in for anything here, and Copenhagen Wolves couldn't really start a fight top because Aurelia had TP. Instant up there, AD carry of course. Didn't bring TP and wouldn't be able to join in on the side of Woolite and Copenhagen Wolves. Now they are grouping here. 24 minutes into the game. Might look to try and come down and land some poke onto Rocket, but they need to be careful. Again, binding or the stun from Overpow, and then Rocket can engage.
Well, they're going to sweep out the ward and see if the Wolves will take anything from this one. It seems that they are going to back away. They've got no advantage in any of the lanes. The top lane's going to get cleared out. Xaxus is going to continue that farming spree. So, we're hitting the latest phases of the game, 24 minutes in. Xaxus will become stronger now, you feel, than YoungBuck.
He will, and definitely in team fights, Aurelia is very, very strong in the late game. Or even in this mid-game point here, once you complete the Trinity Force, you hit your first power spike as Aurelia, where you become very strong. You have a lot of damage. If you get onto a squishy target, you will be able to take them down. And because of your passive, with the extra tenacity, it is very hard to stop an Aurelia running towards you. Knock up, luckily for Copenhagen Wolves, works really well. That's where, of course, Zyra comes in to the picture. But still, Aurelia in these late game team fights will be able to do a lot. It will be very hard for Copenhagen Wolves to control. And we actually do see Xaxus as well building tank now. So he's not looking for the second damage item and looking to split push. He's more going to say, okay, I need, first of all, I have 24s. I want to build for a bit of everything, and especially for team fights, by getting some tank in it, so I won't be a squishy target when I'm going.
Currently, it is even in terms of farms starting to develop out between them. You can see ROC, of course, with that gold advantage, they have the objectives, they have the dragons. And it looks like with 40 seconds to go, they're going to make a move and try and secure this next one. Wards being placed out. Lane's being pushed out. Xaxus has that teleport available. He's happy to keep himself active in the top lane. Blue buff this time will go to Overpow, so he's going to have that for the fight as well. Jankos is backing off, though. 30 seconds to go before that dragon spawns. They know they have a little bit of timer, but it's actually affording Copenhagen Wolves positional advantage. And they now have the river area covered out.
The Copenhagen Wolves, everyone went back to base. Board used all the gold they had, and then they ran to Dragon here. Overpow is actually sitting on almost 2,000 gold at the moment. Won't be able to spend it before the fight unless he wants to give up the Dragon to the Wolves, but they're moving away actually now. He's still staying around, just Airwaks, scouting away, see if he can find someone. Oh, trying to get some poke down at least.
Oh, Mega Inferno Bomb.
Oh,
it only caught on VandeR, yeah, and didn't really do a great deal of damage, so that ultimate's not available. That's a big item to go down. Overpow, though, caught out of position around the side there. They're calling doing the damage on YoungBuck. One more hit. Safeguard from towards it from Jankos, but Airwaks does get the kill on Overpow, and that will give them a big advantage in this dragon fight.
So with the pink ward here, Copenhagen Wolves were just waiting around for Rocket to make a move, and Airwaks, he already moved to the mid lane like 10-20 seconds ago, just waiting for something to happen. As soon as Overpow moved into the river, he just collapsed onto him, killed him with YoungBuck as well. Nice setup, flash was used. And they actually tried to push down the mid lane, but because both towers are already gone, they don't have time to do it.
Yeah, there's no advantage to gain. They are going to steal away the blue buff. That's a small gain, honestly, but that's the first dragon of the game for the Wolves. So, Jankos actually, Woolite going aggressive on this one. They're going to keep on chasing. The rest of the Wolves are following. Can they catch on towards them? They could have position, or you can see Airwaks coming around the side, actually. They've spotted out Xaxus. Overpow does have ult, and yeah, they realize it. They can't go too carried away on this one. But look at the bottom lane now. While they're keeping the pressure on, YoungBuck is putting pressure on this bottom lane.
So he can just push it into the tower. Xaxus is nearby to defend it and pick up all the farm. And the team fight so far in this game, we do see the lack of hard engage for the lineups, because they go in, they pick up one kill, and then they back away. They don't try and chase for too long. They know they can't really continue to chase or lock down a second target, so they get a kill, back away, get a dragon, and we kind of reset the whole game once again. We go back to farming, and both of them just looking to reach the point where they feel like now we can start grouping up, trying to land some poke, land a binding, and then we can maybe try and go for a kill. But none of the teams so far have been at that point. They're only looking for dragon. Whenever one guy dies, he goes to the other team.
Go back about their merry way. So, Copenhagen Wolves did close the gold gap a little, only a little. That's all they managed to get. Can they try and keep that going though? If they can pick off the likes of Overpow, take down one of those carriers, Celaver maybe out of position. Maybe even just catch out Xaxus, who knows? He's the man that's going to be split pushing, and just looking towards the top lane, you can see Celaver, long way out. Copenhagen Wolves thought about it, but he's not foolish. He's not going to keep on pushing that wave. He's not going to go too deep. And he will step away, which means, of course, the waves will continue to be cleared. So let's look across the map. Let's see who is in a big advantage right now, because AD carry ice, you can see it's the Infinity Edge and Triforce being picked up by Celaver. Meanwhile, Woolite went with the Youmuu's Ghostblade and the Blade of the Rune King. But now that those Trinity Force and Infinity Edge are completed, Celaver is stronger, surely.
Yeah, he's very, very strong at this point if they do get in a fight. But the burst potential from Woolite for the 6 seconds when he have the Ghostblade, he will, or should be able to at least do more damage than Celaver, but only for those 6 seconds. And then Celaver started doing more damage for the rest of the fight here. And we do need to see if the Blade of the Rune King is actually close for Woolite. I didn't see when he got to shop. No, he's only on about 1,000 gold now, so he needs a lot of farm before he can complete the Infinity Edge and start becoming stronger as well in the longer fights and not just rely on his 6 seconds of burst with the Ghostblade.
It's got a while to go on that one. We do see some tank items starting to be picked up by both top lane and start binding on YoungBuck. Will lock him in position, but no damage. Follow up. And the Wolves continue to clear out those wards. Maybe looking towards that Baron area. Celaver, very aggressive stuff. He's confident, he's got his Valkyrie available and his flash, so he knows he can get out of a sticky situation, but he's got to be careful he doesn't put himself in one in the first place like Airwaks has. Doesn't quite get locked up by the stun there, very close. Instead, you're going to see the ultimate. Overpow putting the damage down. He has vision, but they don't quite have enough to finish him off. And look at that, though. Woolite putting the damage down on towards Jankos. The Cullen burning down his back, and he's going to step away. While that was all happening, the bottom lane pairing have continued to push. And still, these teams are not confident enough to finish the job. Both junglers caught out.
Again, they have a hard time actually directly starting the fight. They're just poking back and forth here. Airwaks keeps trying to sneak around people, trying to get the flank, start a fight here, but the rest of Copenhagen Wolves were not in a position to help him, so he had to run away, dropped very, very low, and then we actually saw Jankos with the exact same thing. He tried to get around them. Celaver popped, or sorry, Woolite popped the Ghost Blade here and just hammered Jankos down, forced him away from the fight. And this bot lane thing with the two top laners, they are pushing the waves, but they don't actually fight against each other. They're just pushing it out, and the next guy is like, okay, I'm just gonna wait here. Thank you, take the farm. The other guy moves away, goes into the jungle, whatever. So we don't actually see them fight each other. They're just both ready to teleport in case they need to, and just farming away, just trying to become as tanky as possible now.
Oh, I thought he was gonna maybe come in and steal out with a smite. Didn't have a vision there, though. He could have. There was nothing to stop him, but he just didn't put the ward down. Instead, he went towards actually giving himself some coverage. Of course, the Dragon is up in 1 minute 40, and that is probably the next focus for the Wolves as they push this bottom wave up.
Airwaks, once again, he keeps looking for these fights here. He really wants to try and stay as far behind Rocket as possible, so they don't expect him to all of a sudden show up behind him and start everything. Copenhagen Wolves pushing his mid lane here. Jankos coming down from his top lane. There's 4 members now from Rocket in his mid lane to try and to defend. And of course, they do have a lot of poke with both Corgi and Overpow with his long range. Also his ulti, if someone should drop low, you can try and finish him off with the ulti. We just see the wave clear right here. Boop.
What's stopping them in the bottom wave? They could just go straight towards the tower, and that's exactly what they're doing. I wondered why they were not just simply 2v1 in and pushing the pressure on. So the Wolves take themselves down the 4th turret of the game. That puts things even between them, and again, brings that closer. Gold ever so closer between these teams. VandeR putting the pink ward down. Dragon up in 50 seconds. YoungBuck, you are backing away in a dangerous position, and he's going to step away from that.
Steps away again. Both top lanes have teleport. He can go back. Buy some items to be ready here. Both teams basically doing the same thing. I mean, we talked about how the last Dragon, now we're going to have 5-6 minutes. So
we also talked about how this game may be long.
Right, right. I think we are correct so far. The teams are taking it slow, farming up, want to go towards these late game team fights. We do see YoungBuck picking up a giant spell for the team fight, which is going to be very good for him. Xaxus actually stayed, even though he has teleport. I'm not sure how much gold he has. Oh, he has about 600, so of course couldn't go back still. Slight advantage for YoungBuck at the moment, but still Aurelia is very, very strong in these team fights.
6 kills in 33 minutes. It's the exact opposite to what 4.10 was like last week when the teams had newly discovered this patch. Dragon is up. Rocket are taking it. They're in the advantage position. Copenhagen Wolves are going to have to push on this one. The World Dragon's going to go down. It's finished off. Airwaks tries to come around and steal it, but he goes down. Stranglethorns goes down. Not going to hit anyone. Mega Inferno Bomb does catch a little bit of damage, but cowTard has to flash away. He's caught out with a kick. Jankos goes in, secures himself the kill on that one. He's got nowhere to escape, though. He's going to get locked out. It is a 3-for-1 so far, and it seems that Rocket are just about done there.
And everything actually starts with YoungBuck being out of position. He was in this mid lane, very far away from the Dragon. Notice here on the minimap, YoungBuck had to run the entire way to help the team out. The Dragon is already gone. Airwaks tried to steal it. Again, Evelyn, you need to flank around. If you just move straight in their face, they're going to spot you out. They're going to land some CC and just kill you instantly. You will never be able to get your burst, or you're never going to be able to even get your shield if you just get locked up instantly, like Rocket did here against Airwaks. Again, look, his ulti is still ready. Didn't even have time to use it, just dropped down instantly. Rocket managed to clean up the fight, or at least pick a few more kills.
I think he tunnel visioned so heavily on getting the smite steal that forgot actually, you know what, if I do get this steal, there's a big fight straight afterwards, so kind of a little bit out of position. Nevertheless, that gives another gold advantage, swings straight back to Rocket. So the Wolves, they claw it back. They claw it back in the lanes. They claw it back. The Dragon spawns up. They lose the fight. Rocket take it. And again, another big gold spike for them, back in 5,000 gold lead.
And they should never...
with Baron available, will Wolves maybe pressure for this?
Well, it could be the next thing to dance around. At least we see both teams coming in here. There's actually no pink wards down around the Baron, so nobody's actually denying any wards, except for the one sweeping lanes being used. So both teams can now go back. Supports Unlimited will most likely pick up a pink ward here, go back and place it around the Baron if they want to try and take control of it. But the Copenhagen should have been in position to make sure Rocket didn't actually start the Dragon before. But they were a bit split up. YoungBuck was in the mid lane, farming away here, so Rocket just took the Dragon. And when the teams put so much focus on Dragon, you have to make sure you're there. When it's finally spawning and there's a fight about to happen, you need to be ready. Because if you give it over to the team, you just give them this advantage now for the next 6 minutes until the next Dragon spawns, where both of them have been farming away, and there was no reason to actually do it.
Especially when you've just invested a whole bunch of wards to get in that position and that vision in the first place. So YoungBuck clears out this bottom wave stack. It does, of course, give his position away, but he does have teleport available if Rocket were to try anything out in this top lane. While, of course, this is keeping 4 members of both teams active, we do see Xaxus continuing to push that top lane. They've already put damage on towards that top turret. It is pretty fragile right now. Jankos looking to sneak around. He's trying to flank it
move down, take the tower.
Get some damage, and they're pushing. There you go. Jankos comes around. Xaxus on it. Teleport in there. Mega Inferno Bomb being used to clear out the wave. But that's going to be on a cooldown now.
Yeah, so worst case for Rocket here, they forced away the ult from cowTard. Good enough. They got some damage on the tower as well. YoungBuck has been pushing out this bot lane, so it's going to slowly push towards the tower of Rocket, but there's still a while before it gets to the tower, and the tower itself should be able to clear the wave fairly easily. And of course, coming too far away,
Celaver, big burst damage, has to Valkyrie and flash and heal away. It actually didn't have a heal available just to get the hell out of there. So quick burst damage from the Wolves, and that gives them some positional advantage to move.
They get the pink now. Now they can move in, place all the pink wards, clear the wards from Rocket, and try and force Rocket now into a bad situation where they either have to face shake onto Copenhagen Wolves, or just maybe risk Copenhagen Wolves starting the Baron itself. However, it's going to be risky against Overpow here, because he's going to be able to destroy you very far away.
Well, they do not start things off. They're just going to bait it out and the dance, or the waltz, whichever you prefer in there. Maybe it's a little bit of salsa. We do have Tango Evelyn, I believe it is, in the top there. As it is, Xaxus has found him. He's going to have to run, speeds himself up and gets away from that.
So, every single time Airwaks has the chance, he moves around, looking for the chance to start a fight. But of course, without any hard engage, we are just looking at each other for now, trying to scare each other away. Find some pink wards, kill the pink ward here, small victory for Rocket. Still a few more down around the Baron pit. They can go and clear if they do manage to force Copenhagen Wolves away. Do however lose the blue buff, which is important over Zix now, so he can start poking away. Overpow needs to be a little bit careful with his mana. And now Copenhagen Wolves need to be careful they don't lose all the pink wards they just placed.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to do that. So, let's look across and see who actually has the advantage. I mean, obviously Rocket do with in terms of gold. In terms of items, it's going to slowly become closer. So, as we approach the 40-minute mark, who's going to have the stronger late game team? I mean, you'd assume I would look towards Rocket, but the Wolves are still in good position.
So I'm definitely looking towards the top lanes when we talk about late game, where it's heavily in favor of Aurelia, these late game team fights. But the Blazer King actually made Renekton better in the late game, because you had quite some damage, and then you can just build full tank afterwards. But still, I would give it to Aurelia in his late game points here. And Overpow against cowTard, I mean, both of them do a lot of burst damage, a lot of AoE damage in these fights, so it's all about who gets the best engage for them. And of course, AD carry-wise, well, Kogi's fine in the late game with Infinity Edge. Honestly, I think I'll give it to Lucian still late game wise, but it's very much up in the air. I don't think it's going to be too much about the champions here. I'm actually going to think about who starts the right team fights, because it's very hard for both teams again to start the fights. So who gets the proper engage, or who managed to start controlling the map. Try and sneak a Baron, try and take it away, or maybe get 1 or 2 towers because you out-rotate the other team, and therefore you get some advantage and try and win the game, and not necessarily just depending on the champions they have.
Well, of course, looking at the junglers, we do see this Hex Drinker was picked up a long time ago for Jankos. And he's... it's interesting, we've been focusing a little bit on, of course, the junglers over the last few games, because we're interested to see how they're itemizing. There's been a few changes for them. Rocket, though, poking on towards the Dragon, not going to start it off this time. She leashed it out and backed straight off. Banshee's Veils was picked up. Hello, Overpow going. cowTard caught out, but he doesn't go down. It's enough. He can step away at the side there. Mega Inferno thrown out, but again, only catching the damage on VandeR. Meanwhile, back in the top area, you can see Overpow. YoungBuck trying to single him out with the Dominus run in. Airwaks comes around. Xaxus is going to get locked up. Has to flash away from this one. YoungBuck goes big on this one. Can he get the final damage down? Yes, he can. It's the culling from Woolite that does it. But now the Copenhagen Wolves are really low, and ROC are backing away. They could try and pick up some kills here, but instead, they have to back away. Scrying Orb was used. They didn't see who managed to get on towards it. The Dragon is going to get started out. Meanwhile, Woolite, he's putting pressure on this mid lane.
So Unlimited staying around this Dragon for now, but everyone else is so low here from Copenhagen Wolves. Woolite already moved to the top side. Should be Dragon for Rocket, so while they lost the team fight, they do pick up the late game objective here and more gold. There's only one kill again on the side of Copenhagen Wolves. I don't think we've had a team fight, except for one, with more than just one kill here. YoungBuck joining in though.
Teleported in for this. Not sure really that he wanted to go and be full aggression, but it forces ROC to back away nonetheless, and it did force some damage away. Woolite looking to try and catch somebody out. Doesn't manage to catch out anyone after all, and instead it doesn't really put any pressure on anything. They're going to go Baron though.
Well, they're moving there at least. Still, they don't have any pink ward to place in the Baron pit, so they won't be able to clear the ward unless they're usually sweeping here, but Rocket can move down, place a new ward, and just poke away from distance. So no pink ward from the side of from Copenhagen Wolves, therefore they won't be able to deny any vision, and now they already spotted them out.
Yeah, Jankos lands that. Gives him immediate eyes in the Baron pit, knows that it's simply bait, and they're not going to fall for it. So, it's now a 7,000 gold lead or shy of for ROC with a 7-4 gold lead, kill lead advantage. Everybody backing off and purchasing yet more items. We saw actually how close it was, despite there is that 7,000, 6,000 gold lead between the teams. It's still very, very tight between these. Simply someone getting caught out of position. Xaxus was the man that went down.
And we saw how scary it was if you get hit by binding, because instantly as the binding landed onto cowTard, Overpow just put his ult into his face here, almost managed to kill him. And it's actually a thing for Copenhagen Wolves, if you look at the items, there's only one member with tenacity. That's actually Airwaks in the jungle here. YoungBuck up in his top lane, he doesn't have any tenacity. 80 carries, of course, building towards a Quicksilver Sash instead, so you have your cleanse now, but if you look at the of both cowTard and Unlimited, if they get hit by a binding, it's a lot of CC, and then follow up maybe by the stun by Overpow, and the target is going to go down.
Well, it was Xaxus that went down in the last fight, and he's already picked up himself a Guardian Angel to make sure that doesn't happen again. Meanwhile, Frozen Heart picked up by YoungBuck. Big, giant, tanky wall of a crocodile now. Xaxus in that bot lane is split pushing. Copenhagen Wolves actually just still continuing to clear the wards out. Xaxus is going to continue that pressure and actually eventually will reach that tower. But Copenhagen Wolves have started the Baron off here. They're not committed to it though.
No, and Xaxus still in this bot lane here, just waiting. Because as long as they can hold them off with 4 members, he can keep pushing in the wave. And if they can keep holding them off, he's going to force YoungBuck then to go down and defend. He can't because he has no teleport, therefore he's actually forced to stay with the team. And every single time they started, Rocket tries to poke them and try and force them away. Now, this time around, they actually already got the Baron down to about 60%.
We'll see whether the teleport's going to come in. They're going to have to come in shortly. It's not being used just yet. They're going to try and peel on this one. They're catching around the side. Mega Inferno Bomb this time catches on VandeR and Celaver. Teleport is coming in this time around. VandeR's already been caught out though. Xaxus comes around the side, and the Copenhagen Wolves are actually fairly low on health right now. YoungBuck's going to get caught out. Is it going to be enough? Yes, Celaver gets the kill on him. Now we can see Overpow getting on towards Airwaks. Does not land and connect those hits, but they can see the mines coming around. Jankos kicks Unlimited back into Xaxus. Xaxus locks him up. Guardian Angel gets popped. Woolite caught around the side. Stun does not land from Overpow. Arcano Pulse was going out there, but everybody steps away, and it's just a 2-for-1 this time around in the fight. Rocket again coming out on top, despite the Wolves starting everything off.
Yeah, so they lost VandeR very early on here, but managed to just keep cutting backwards. YoungBuck overcommitted a little bit, took a lot of damage, actually went down for it, and Woolite staying around. He wants more.
Yeah, you can see the damage that both Woolite and Overpow have there. Woolite almost 2-shot in Jankos, but everybody steps away once again. The Baron dance will continue its merry way for a 3rd time.
Well, first Dragon should be spawning in a few minutes. Could be the target and then towards the Baron afterwards. But we did see Copenhagen Wolves, because they didn't have teleport on YoungBuck, they moved all 5 members to the Baron, started it, and forced Rocket, to use their teleport to join in for the fight here, and traded 2-for-1 favor of Rocket. But there was still the team staying back and just waiting, poking away, even though they're hitting gold. They're not the ones taking control of the map. They're actually the ones staying back, poking poking and then trying to disengage every single time. And if Copenhagen Wolves then overcommit in fights, they punish them. And now they're actually the ones starting the Baron.
This time around, I can see Airwaks. He's flanking around Overpow, actually. Woolite is a long way from this one, and that Baron is going down quick. Airwaks is not close enough to get in and steal this one away. That's going to go towards Rocket. The question is, can they peel in time? They found Airwaks. They're going to try and catch him around. Soul Shackles from VandeR will lock him up. Overpow going aggressive. Meanwhile, Stranglethorns is simply just going to bounce them in the air. Immediately, 2 members going down. Airwaks is getting caught out, and Limited goes down. And now YoungBuck's being chased. Woolite, though, quickly caught on. Xaxus locks it towards him. Xaxus, no Guardian Angel this time, will get taken down by cowTard's Mega Inferno Bomb. YoungBuck again. Jankos trying desperately to get the other side of him to kick him towards the team, but the Baron and 2 kills goes to Rocket.
So this all started because Woolite, after the team fight, he stayed. He tried to do as much damage he could to Rocket. He took a lot of damage in return, and then he actually moved all the way down to the Wraith camp and to the red buff here. So he had to recall very late. Therefore, he's running for base now when this fight is actually on. Airwaks, first target. I mean, pretty much nothing he could do. He was moving in to try and smite steal it, never really got in a position. He ended up dying for it. Woolite just have to run away here. Taking a lot of damage from Celaver coming in with the burst. YoungBuck managed to get 1 kill, but still you lost the Baron at this point here. Simply also because Woolite stayed for such a long time trying to poke away, and then did red buff afterwards, recalled, while Rocket had already moved all 5 members to the Baron. So he had to run there and was never really a part of anything.
Wasn't involved in it. Jankos being tracked by the Wolves right now. Clearing the wards in the Baron pit. You never know. There's no Baron there to deal with. 20 seconds until the Dragon's up, though. That's going to be potentially a focus. Mercurial Scimitar was picked up by Woolite, actually. That's what kept him alive in that last fight. Managed to cleanse himself off and get the hell out of there. So Rocket with a big gold advantage now, 9,000. And, of course, that Baron buff are going to make their way down to this Dragon that's spawning in 2 seconds' time.
They've been playing very passive, but they've simply been waiting for their chance. As soon as they saw Copenhagen was out of position, being at around Dragon or Baron, they would start the objective, pick it up, and then just back away a little bit. Didn't necessarily want to actually team fight, but just get these objectives and back away now. And with Baron buff, with all the damage from Overpow, also Celaver, 4 damage items completed. Of course, another Dragon. Then we need to see if they actually want to start grouping up and try and move down, land some poke with Xaxus, split pushing, and then try and force some towers.
The Wolves trying to force the mid-push, but simply put, now that Overpow's there, he can clear that wave very, very easily with that.
They're just delaying. They push the wave out as far away from their base as they can, and then they just move away here. So they delay Rocket a little bit for pushing. They can try and do the same thing up here in this top lane, kill the next wave, force someone from Rocket to move up and clear the wave, and therefore once again delay the whole thing and just wait this Baron buff out.
Well, you see Celaver's cleared that mid-wave, got that Bloodthirster now completed, and they are possibly going to show some signs of aggression. So, VandeR, that man that was on your screen just there, can he land a Dark Binding? That will surely start everything off. Celaver's just got half the hit points down off that turret. Copenhagen Wolves, they were back in base, but they were...
But it's been the same deal the entire game. They are not fast enough to be at the right place at the right time, so now they lost 60% HP of their tower just by an AD carry running in saying, okay, duk, back away, easy peasy. Next time around, Rocket can just move in, put Black Shield onto Celaver, and let him kill the tower.
I never knew that was Corky's sound.
It's a duk.
It's a duk.
It's a great sound.
That's a fantastic sound. Airwaks once again trying to flank around. Xaxus meanwhile is pushing the bottom wave in, so they're going to create pressure in that 4-1 split. Airwaks again, he's going a long way around to flank on this one, that's for sure.
Well, still, he wants to start a fight here. Xaxus can join in. There's still Bloodthirster shield onto Celaver, of course, as long as he hits him in. He actually spotted Airwaks and jumps towards him.
Yeah, actually, you can see Celaver going aggressive on this one. Meanwhile, Xaxus is taking this bottom tower down. Nobody from the Wolves to react to this one. Way too late to the party. Now the 5th tower of the game goes down to Rocket. Of course, Airwaks was forced away. So again, Rocket moved back into position and try and pressure this mid inner turret.
Pushing on a Ziggs though is not the easiest thing. He will pretty much always be able to clear the wave before it even gets close to your tower. But because the tower is already pretty low, because Xaxus down near his bot lane is always pushing in, they should be able to get in and get a few hits on the tower and manage to actually kill it and open up for the inhibitor.
Dark Binding not going to land on Unlimited, just on the top of your screen now. Woolite, we just saw actually Woolite and Celaver. They're just a little duel back and forth between each other. They're both doing incredible amounts of damage right now. Rocket keeping the pressure on Woolite. Really aggressive because you saw Airwaks again trying to flank around the side, but hey, Banshee's Veil on Jankos is not the target he wants. It's the AD carry he's going to try and focus on. But honestly, I think if he pops on towards Celaver, I think Celaver's just going to turn around and explode him.
And there's no pink wards on the side of Rocket here, so they can't actually place anything around the sides to try and spot, except for the one right here on Overpow. And therefore, Airwaks keeps dodging around it instead on the other side of the map, and there's no additional pink wards, so they won't be able to spot him. You just have to say, okay, we think he's going to engage. I haven't seen him for a while. Once again, he's staying around. Now he's spotted.
But look at the side. Xaxus is actually coming around the back of the Copenhagen Wolves. Celaver takes a Mega Inferno bomb and he quickly turns it around, gets the lifesteal back on towards Airwaks. While this is all happening behind them, we see Jankos coming around. Woolite catching out. Celaver does manage to take him down. Airwaks zapped out of it by Overpow. Xaxus brought all the attention. Celaver gets himself a second. cowTard goes down. YoungBuck in all sorts of trouble. He's going to get caught out. Jankos trying to get on towards him. Can't quite kick on him, and it doesn't matter. The focus is strong from Rocket as they get a triple kill for Celaver. That's going to be the inhibitor turret. It may even be the game.
It will be the game for sure. The death times are so long. We have 50 minutes into the game. Rocket will be able to take it.
So 50 minutes gone. You can see they're going to tank this one through. They can take out those Nexus turrets. Rocket instead choose to go up towards the top because there's a big wave and they think, you know what, let's get another inhibitor.
Fantasy points for whoever has the Rocket as a team. It's additional tower here, inhibitor as well, now moving towards the base.
Now the minions come in. Actually, they go aggressive and they get a kill. Xaxus catching on towards Unlimited. That is it. That's the ace. And that is the Nexus turrets going down. Rocket, well, they smacked on at the start of it and they finally backed it up. But it was far from convincing once again for Rocket. Another 50-minute victory, but it does keep them clear of the Wolves.
And Rocket as a team in this game here, they were simply one step ahead of Copenhagen Wolves, or we could say Copenhagen Wolves were one step behind Rocket, because every time they were late for Dragon, or whatever objective it was, Rocket would start it, take it, and just back away afterwards. We had so many team fights where only one member died every single time, but the Dragon always went in favor of Rocket. So even though we had stronger lanes from Copenhagen Wolves early on, and standard lanes, and they actually got ahead, because they kept losing Dragon, because they kept being too late to the party, Rocket got the lead, and also managed to actually win the game here in the very end.
Well, what a win, nonetheless. Not a convincing match by any stretch of the imagination, but nonetheless, with Super Week, any win is a good win.
Yes, especially for Rocket here, fighting to really climb up the standings, want to secure this top 6 spot. I believe they're 6th place now, and they want to stay there, at least, of course. Don't want to drop lower, because you want to get this playoff spot, so you have a chance of going to Worlds. It's what every single team is playing for. Nobody even thinks about relegation at this point. It's all about, I want to go to Gamescom, I want to play in the playoffs and get a chance to go towards Worlds. Because once you actually are at Gamescom and you play this quarter-final game here, everything can happen. I mean, everyone can just prepare one tactic, beat whoever team they're facing, suddenly they're in the semi-final. You also secure your spot for next year's LCS. So it's all about the playoffs here for both teams. Even though Wolves, of course, should be thinking about relegation, it's not what's on their mind. Get this top 6 spot. Still Rocket, we saw the slow and safe play style. If we don't have to fight, we're not going to fight. We are just going to relax and just take the Dragon, back away, go back to farming, until we really feel like we're strong enough. Then we take the fight and we win.
Well, the pressure was on their mid laner. We called him out at the start of the show. He reacted. Shox is standing by on stage with Overpow.
Thank you very much, D-Man. And well, congratulations, Overpow, because as D-Man said, we did have a little bit of doubts of how would you perform in this matchup here today. And you went for the Xerath, a new pick coming in there. It was actually cowTard that played it as well in the Spring Split. You said you didn't know, but why did you go for this pick in this instance?
We decided to go for something crazy because we're not doing so great. And Xerath was working for us in Scrim, so we decided why not.
And then talk me through how it worked out in the game. You were up against the Ziggs, and then laning phase, as you guys do normally, really good in, but then it slowed down as the game progressed.
I actually didn't do that well in the laning phase. I catch some easy bombs, and yeah, but the mid game wasn't that good as well. I just don't know what's going on with us, and I'm really sorry for my fans, because we are playing really bad, and I think that it might change, but not necessarily now. And yeah, we're just doing anything to win the games, and that's why the Xerath was picked, actually.
Well, but it can actually be very good for the fans that you guys just bounced back from a loss earlier in the day. So, and your teammates as well, Celaver, Jankos really stepping up. So what will you work towards going into the rest of Super Week that is so important right now for you guys?
Well, I think we have actually some changes again. Millennium and Gambit. We play tomorrow and after the day as well. And we're working on our strategy, how to win the games. Like, for now, we just try to win our lanes, and from that point, we try to close up games to actually win it.
All right, very insightful and honest. Thank you very much, Overpow.
Thanks.
All right, now it's time for a topic that we really need to get on top of. So let's go over to Joe and Trevor for a very fitting conversation.
Thank you very much, Shox and Overpow. And some sincere words there, and I think we can talk about that a little bit as well, because ROC, again, got off to a good start, had control of the game, but had problems winning it.
Yeah, they really did. I think it stems from the compositions of both teams. Neither team really had the ability to force objectives. And again, ROC demonstrates a hesitation in their mid to late game. They really play passive. They really play slow. They did, however, get a lead and hold on to that lead. So it was a deserved win, albeit it was a crawl over the finish line as opposed to a sprint.
So we also have something that we need to clear up, guys, from that game. So let's take a quick look back.
Did you call it tops?
Tops, yeah.
I didn't even know it was shirts. I was trying to figure out what you were talking about.
I quite like that little clip, if I'm honest.
So we have to talk about tops and what they are. And we actually had a few tweets about tops from this game.
Yes, one of them in particular. The first one comes from us at Punky1993. He taught me that tops are in fact shirts and that tea is yum. Obviously part of the London crowd, and it's what they were yelling, tea is yum,
yep.
Tea is yum. But Joe, I mean, really, tops, is it a British thing?
I think it definitely is. So there's different kinds of tops, right? So you got crop tops, tank tops, and all that kind of thing. But you only really need to call them not shirts. You don't need to know the difference, just call it tops. You've got jeans, you've got shorts, you just call them bottoms. Tops and bottoms, it's really, really easy. I mean, my favorite personally is a crop top. I'm not allowed to wear them though because I look like Gragas.
The thing is, you've got tops, you've got bottoms, but don't you British people also call underwear pants? I mean, isn't this a bit confusing?
So underwear is called pants in England, and I actually had at one event, an American cast who will remain nameless for this one. It was really warm at the event, and he said to me, "Why don't you just take your pants off?" And I looked at him and I thought,
it's a bit forward, mate.
It's a good idea for ventilation, but I'm not sure the crowd will appreciate it.
So I think we do have another tweet. This one I also was a fan of, at Stephen Nomogo. He says, Gambit suits are the best. Now, I personally like this, and I do think their suits are great. I'm hoping they pick up some wins on their birthdays and actually start wearing these suits around, because I think, you know, if they reveal their real naked ambition, it would be a shocking surprise to many of us. And, you know, I'm just hoping they don't remain behind, you know, closed trench cloak doors.
Well, guys, we've learned a little bit today. We know now what tops are, what bottoms are, wherever you're from in the world. But we need to take a quick break to put on your favorite top and get your bottom back in the seat, because we've got Millennium versus Fnatic coming right up.
My mind is telling me no, but my body is telling me yes.
Has to use the kick, but it's a great effect, and Xaxus bounces on it. Quick ultimate coming out, Overpow trying to catch the damage down. cowTard comes out, Jankos goes in, hits and runs. Inferno Bomb does catch a little bit of damage, but cowTard has to flash away. He's caught out with the kick, Jankos goes in, secures himself the kill on that one. He's got nowhere to escape though, he's going to get locked out. While this is all happening behind them, we see Jankos coming around, Woolite catching out, Celaver does manage to take him down. Airwaks zapped out of it by Overpow. Xaxus brought all the attention.